Evening, everyone. Sunday evening. I've got a bit of a one for you to think about, really. Um, we all know about certain terms in cricket that have been discussed lately. We've talked about mancadding, and I'll come on to that a bit later. ESPN, Cricinfo, the website, they've taken steps to moderate the use of certain terms, and I understand what they're doing because it's a lot more sensitive these days than it ever used to be. So these terms that are used on their website and in reporting, um, they've moderated some. Have they gone too far? Not sure. Seems easy to offend people these days, much easier than it ever used to be. Uh, and I suppose you could say that there are people in society who perhaps look for ways to be offended. I don't know. I'm not picking out anyone in particular, but it does seem a lot easier to offend people these days. I've certainly been accused of that, and I've done it unintentionally. So I'm going to have a look at the term Chinaman. Now, that's always been used in my uh, understanding. I didn't know the origins of it. It's just a term that's been used referring to a left arm wrist spin bowler. I didn't know where it came from. I think I've done some research, and I think it entered the mainstream uh, of reporting in 1933. There was a test match, a test series between England and West Indies. And in 1933 at Old Trafford, one of the West Indies players of Chinese origin, Ellis Atchong, uh, was bowling, slow left arm, and he was finger spin. But he bowled the odd wrist spinner. And now Walter Robbins was batting for England, charged down the wicket, got done by this wrist spinner, and was stumped. And he's reported to have said, when leaving the ground, fancy getting out to a Chinaman, because the bowler was of Chinese origin. And now, at the time, he probably didn't mean anything by it. And it wouldn't have been offensive at the time because it just wasn't back then. That's not the way we thought about it. And when you think about it now, it'd be offensive now, definitely. There's ways of describing people's ethnic origin that are not considered correct today. I'm sure we know what they are, and it's within cricket sometimes, and also within Greater. I'm sure we know what they are. If I take it just down a level a little bit, we call the Aussies and Australians and New Zealanders Aussies and Kiwis. They call us Poms. That's all quite friendly. That's probably on a different level. Um, but using the phrase Chinaman these days is probably not appropriate, I think. And it's a left arm wrist spinner. You could say that it explains it better, and to anyone who's new to the game, it probably explains it more simpler than just saying there's a Chinaman bowler. Well, what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything, but a left arm wrist spinner means something, so that's probably better. So I think that's where it came from. Similarly, we covered the Mankad controversy in a previous video, and that's just referred to him by name by the first person who did it. Because Mankad ran out Bill Brown when he was backing up. Did it twice, if you remember, which is quite funny. Sonny Gavaskar doesn't like it being called mancadding. ESPN Cricinfo would like to refer to it as run out by the bowler whilst backing up. Now that's a bit of a mouthful, as you just saw. Sunil Gavaskar, because it was Bill Brown that was out, Sunil Gavaskar refers to it as being browned. I'm not going to refer to it as that because that could open a whole new can of worms there, couldn't it? So mancadding, browned, run out by the bowler but whilst backing up. I think that's fair, isn't it? And so those two of the terms that are open for debate. I think it's probably, for me, fair and logical these days to use the modern phrases run out by the bowler whilst backing up, and left arm wrist spinner. They're appropriate for these days. And one last one for me. With the advent of ladies cricket going worldwide, there's been an explosion of exposure to ladies cricket recently. There's been a lot of coverage, a lot more games. It's a lot more popular for players and spectators. It's just become really popular. It's really landed on the scene. It's become really, really popular. And it might seem a small thing to people when you refer to someone as a batsman or a batswoman. It was always batsmen, but now with the ladies' game becoming more popular and having more coverage on TV and in reporting in papers and things, I think the transition to the word batter is logical. That's logical. So I'm going to leave that one there. I think the word batter is logical. Unless you really want to say batsman and then batswoman when it's a lady batting. That could get a bit unwieldy, that, and you could get mixed up. So batter probably. So we'll stop that one there. We'll hold that one there. But so far as the 100 goes, and calling, this is not ESPN's idea, this is something that's come out from the ECB, the possibility of calling wickets out, which sounds a lot like me to be appealing to the American market, but they don't like cricket anyway, and we don't like them, so let's not call it out, let's just keep calling it wickets, because if you start calling it outs, the next thing they'll want to do is make it 10-a-side, because the Americans, they wouldn't be able to understand that you've got 11 players but you only have to get 10 out. They wouldn't understand that. So I think it has to stay with wickets, but left arm wrist spinner, run out by the bowler whilst backing up, and batter, I think they're appropriate for the circumstances of the modern world. Thanks for watching, guys.